chance discovery of endometriosis, and I'm here working towards creating awareness about endometriosis for people like me who suffered without knowing what it is. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our first Zoom session on endometriosis awareness. And I'm so happy to be here this Sunday evening and so humble to see people joining in. So, first and foremost, before I start, I really want to make sure we get the definition of endometriosis right, because if we don't get the definition right, the can never be right. So, endometriosis, according to a scientific literature, defines endometriosis as a systemic inflammatory disease characterized at surgery by the presence of endometrium like tissue found outside the uterus, usually associated with an inflammatory process. So, it actually, as it was said earlier, hysterectomy is the solution for endometriosis. It is wrong. So, hysterectomy happens when you have conditions within the uterus. But since it is present anywhere outside the uterus, hysterectomy is not a solution. It is for other conditions, but not for endometriosis. So, though excision surgery remains the gold standard, diet and lifestyle has shown evidence of improving one's quality of life. So to discuss this further, we have with us Noopur Mehta, who is a consultant dietitian at multiple hospitals in Mumbai and is a founder of a health-based gourmet food brand by the name Poshtik. She is also a visiting faculty at ICT Mumbai for basic human nutrition for MTech students. Hi Noopur.
Yeah, hi Dr. Shilpa. Really glad to be here with such a lovely audience out here who are here to know more about endometriosis. Like we know in the recent times, this has been, a burning topic, and we see the number of cases also rising. So
Right.
it's good that people are getting aware about it, and they think that diet and lifestyle can be used as a tool to modify the way in which the progression takes place.
Makes sense. That absolutely is amazing. Now, I want to know, Noopur, give me a brief about what you have done and how is it what you have done, and how is it that you are helping endometriosis patients?
Okay. So I come from a complete food background. I have done my BTech in food engineering and technology, after which I did a post graduation in food safety and quality management. That was not enough, so I did another second post graduation in integrative nutrition and dietetics.
Wow.
So, right from food manufacturing perspective to getting into the quality management to lastly looking at the nutritional profile of the entire food that we are consuming. So, farm to fork, I covered the food entirely. And now I am into helping patients with clinical conditions, not just for endometriosis, but for all kinds of clinical conditions, like majorly focusing on holistic healing.
All right.
As we know that food is not just the only thing that we look into when we are looking at healing.
Hmm.
So I would say medicines do its part, food does its part, but there are other things also that contribute to it. So we'll be looking at it in specific ways to endometriosis as we move through this session.
Absolutely. So now, Noopur, like, I mean, for example, for me, when I was diagnosed with endometriosis, I was so confused about what to eat, how to eat. I mean, there were 10 people telling me 10 things about what you can eat, what you cannot eat, and it is very overwhelming. So now what happens is when people ask you not to eat most of the food stuff, it gets very difficult. So to know it better, how does diet and lifestyle play a role in managing symptoms of endometriosis?
Basically, endometriosis is dealing with a hormone imbalance in your body. Now, food that you eat is affecting every single cell in your body, even the hormones. So that's how you ask me that how is food going to play a part? Yes, whatever little grain of piece that you're putting inside your body is going to affect how each and every cell in your body behaves. So this condition is mainly characterized by an estrogen dominance in the body. Now,
Mm.
estrogen is very, very important hormone. It Especially for females, it helps us with our bone health, it helps us with our cardiovascular health. But what the problem lies is when there is an excess of estrogen. So there are foods which can help to lower the estrogen levels when there is an excess. Again, it's not just the food, but the lifestyle also. Now, when we are looking at a hormonal imbalance, your physical activity is also going to affect your the balance of the hormones in your body. So if we are leading a sedentary lifestyle, again it has an effect on the hormones, again leading to estrogen dominance, again relating to endometriosis. Or if we are looking at nowadays, when we see people, there's a rise in the stress levels in general for everyone, and these are chronic stresses. They are not just single bouts of stresses. There's constantly so much evolving around us and changing around us that people are constantly under stress. Now when there's constant so much of stress, the cortisol level rises, again there's an hormonal imbalance, again the estrogen rises and leads to estrogen dominance. If we look at another most important thing when we talk of lifestyle nowadays is the sleep, right? Recently, I came across this term, sleep divorce. So, sleep divorce is a term which, because people don't get enough time for their own recreation, they end up cutting down on their sleep just to make up for that lost time. And they compromise on the sleep to, let's say, maybe scroll through their mobile phones or watch something on YouTube, or be it anything. So that is, they are compromising on their sleep. Now we need to remember that the maximum healing in our body takes place when we are asleep.
Right.
Especially even when we are looking at sleep, the best hours for it is 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. That's when the maximum healing in your body is going to take place. Now if we are compromising on the sleep itself, the body is not able to rejuvenate, and that is again leading to an hormonal imbalance. So overall we see that not just food but the entire lifestyle also is leading to so much of a hormonal imbalance in our body, that that is the main cause of the rising number of cases of such conditions.
Okay. Yes, endometrial tissue creates its own estrogen. So obviously, estrogen dominance is something which is very evident.
And when we are also looking at symptoms, for example,
Hmm.
symptoms majorly include bloating, abdominal pain, pelvic pain, constipation. That's again one of the major symptoms that we see. Now constipation means that you're keeping toxic waste inside your body, you're not allowing it to you not
Fast.
as in you are not allowing it to go out, it is not getting out, the
Yeah,
toxins are
it's
not
not
getting
getting.
outside your body,
Hmm.
right? So the toxins are building up. Now us females, we lose estrogen from our body through the sweat, through the urine, and through the feces as well.
Hmm.
Now if you are constantly constipated, there's an accumulation of estrogen that's happening in your body.
Right.
Again that builds up in the liver, and the liver is the organ that is managing the whole estrogen levels in
Yeah.
our body. So
Hmm.
again we are disrupting the estrogen cycle.
Yeah, that's right. So it's a complete vicious cycle that probably is happening.
Correct.
So, um, can you explain what exactly is the connection between inflammation and endometriosis? Um, and what is the benefit of following an anti-inflammatory diet?
So again, as you rightly pointed out in the very beginning, it's a systemic inflammatory disease.
Correct.
So because of the endometrial tissue outside the uterus, and it is shedding and it has nowhere else to escape. So it gets stuck in the places in the reproductive system outside the uterus. Now what happens, because it is stuck over there, the surrounding tissues, because of the constant pressure, they get inflamed,
Hmm.
and overall we have an inflammation in the entire reproductive system. So that is the connection, because there is no, because the tissue is trapped over there, which is leading to the inflammation of the surrounding tissue. So that's how endometriosis is an inflammatory condition. Now we have heard this term a lot, anti-inflammatory diet. Yes, that is the solution to this. Anti-inflammatory diet basically includes foods that are going to help lower the inflammation in our body. So when we are looking at anti-inflammatory foods, we would look at something like ginger, we would look at something like garlic, we would look at something like turmeric,
Hmm.
we would look at something like cruciferous vegetables. Cruciferous vegetables include cauliflower, cabbage, broccoli, kale, Brussels sprouts, radish.
Hmm.
So all of these comprise a part of the anti-inflammatory diet. They help to lower the inflammation levels in our body, which is how they will help to elevate, to lower down the symptoms, relieve us from the symptoms of endometriosis.
Hmm. So, all in all, what we have realized over a period of time is the minute your inflammation reduces, it's very obvious that your symptoms would be much better.
Yes.
So, when you are in a flare up, you know, or if you keep getting flare ups, are there any specific food groups that a person should avoid?
Yes, definitely. There are there are certain groups of food which are pro-inflammatory, which will again lead to a rise in inflammation in your body. When you're already in a flare-up, there's excess of inflammation already. So first thing we need to start avoiding is sugar.
Hmm.
Sugar is extremely inflammatory in nature. So people sometimes have this myth, oh, I'm non-diabetic, it's okay, I can eat sugar. That's not how you would look at it, right?
Hmm.
Sugar, except for diabetes also, sugar is extremely inflammatory in nature. So if you are consuming high levels of sugar, be it in the form of raw sugar, or you're consuming any sweets, chocolates, desserts, or even aerated drinks for that matter, all are loaded up with sugar. So that is one thing. Sugar and sugary products and drinks is one thing that we need to completely avoid. Second comes our processed foods.
Hmm.
Highly processed food, devoid of all kinds of nutrients. So the ready to eat packets or all kinds of ready packet foods are to be avoided.
Hmm.
Third thing, fried foods,
Hmm.
high in omega 6, high in the unsaturated fatty acids, the saturated fatty acids, all the kinds of acids which are all the kinds of fats which are not good for us.
Hmm.
That is what is generated when we are frying a food item. So again, they are pro-inflammatory.
Hmm.
Omega 6 is pro-inflammatory.
Hmm.
So again, fried foods is something that we need to avoid.
Hmm.
Then we are also looking at trans fat, again generated while frying. Nowadays, we see a lot of products marketed with zero trans fat, no trans fat. So people are getting aware that trans fat is not good for your body, and you are supposed to be consuming products which are not containing trans fat. If we look at trans fats, especially bakery products,
Hmm.
are the one which are high in trans fats,
Hmm.
right? So bakery bread, biscuits, khari, toast, butter, naan khatai, cakes, pastries. So all kinds of bakery items again is something that we need to keep away from.
Okay.
So
So,
yeah.
just one question. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you, but I wanted to ask for a person like me who has a sweet tooth. Okay. So sometimes, there are times when you really crave for having something sweet. So, what is it that you can eat more than what you cannot eat? What is it that you can eat, which probably may not create as much of inflammation in the body
Okay. If you are
when it
looking
comes to sweets?
Yeah, if you're looking at a sweet tooth,
Hmm.
there are natural sweet things available, like there's dates, there
Hmm.
are figs, there are raisins. They are
Hmm.
all natural sweeteners. You,
Hmm.
if you're feeling that no, I need a sugar boost right now, you might as well pick up a date. It is going to give you the sweetness along with the other nutrients as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is how you would approach things.
Okay. So it's more about substitution.
Yes.
Yeah. So the key is substitution. So substitute something which is inflammatory with something which is less inflammatory.
Yes.
That's the key. Yeah. Sorry. Please continue.
Yeah, no, that's it. You summed it up all. That basically the substitution. So majorly these processed foods, fried foods, bakery items, sugary foods, these are the main things that we would avoid.
Okay, all right. And do you think supplements are a good idea?
Okay. Now, when we look at supplements, it depends on a particular case-to-case basis as to what are the reports, what are the symptom levels at, and how deficient is the person in that particular nutrient. Otherwise, if we are looking at whole foods, which
Mm,
are giving us all kinds of nutrients, so I would like to focus on what are the important nutrients in general, rather than do I pop in this supplement or that supplement? Let's first
right.
focus on the whole foods, because
Mm,
supplementation is something which I believe that you should not self supplement,
mm,
because there may be other effects to it also. So
mm,
always whenever you're thinking of taking up a supplement, it is that you need to consult with your doctor or your dietitian as to what your other conditions are and how your symptoms are and how the reports are. Based
mm,
on the deficiency levels, we can take a call whether we need to give an external supplement or whether natural food sources can do. So if we
mm,
talk about the nutrients of interest, number one, fiber.
mm.
um, the recommended fiber dosage is 25 grams per day, and for us Indians, we really don't meet that up.
Right.
Fibers plentifully available in fruits, vegetables. So fiber is one thing that is going to help lower the estrogen levels, that is
Mm,
going to help lower the inflammation in the body.
mm,
So focusing on whole fruits. Now people would, it's hot. People would think, why might as well I would drink a glass of juice.
mm.
So drinking a fruit juice, you are extracting out all the fiber and you're just taking in the sugar,
Yeah.
the natural sugar.
Mm,
Right? So eat your fruits, eat your vegetables, salads. Make your plate as colorful as possible. There are so many salads out there, especially if you are not a thyroid patient. Focus on
mm,
cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, storehouse of nutrients, I would say.
mm,
Radish, very, very good for your liver health. All of these crucifers, basically, they are extremely good for the liver health. If you
mm.
are keeping your liver health in check, you are keeping your estrogen cycle in check.
Right.
So, again, liver is the organ which is removing out all the toxins from your body, it's detoxifying your body. The
Mm,
liver is constantly working in the body, right? So we need to put the load off the liver. The liver also gets tired, but it doesn't have a choice.
yeah.
So what we can do to help our liver is you put in less amount of toxins. We are already exposed to numerous toxins from the environment already. We can at least limit on the toxins that we are deliberately putting inside our body. That's one thing
Right.
that we can do. So focusing on a lot of fiber is going to help a lot. Maybe having soups,
Mm,
unstrained soup
mm,
is again rich in fiber. So that is one thing that we need to incorporate. Second important nutrient, I would say omega 3.
mm,
Omega 3 fatty acids, they are anti inflammatory. You get them from walnuts, you get them from flax seeds, to high vegetarian sources, I would
mm,
say, flax seeds and walnuts. If you're looking at non vegetarian sources, the fatty fish,
mm.
like mackerel, tuna, salmon. So these are the fishes that, these are the fish that we should opt for. If we are consuming non-vegetarian, then yes, these fish are extremely good in omega-3. So that is one thing that we can do. Other important nutrients include magnesium, zinc, selenium.
Mm,
These minerals, again, very, very good in terms of their anti-inflammatory nature. The magnesium is also going to act as a muscle relaxant. So
mm,
the constant abdominal pain or the pelvic pain that we go through, magnesium is going to help you relieve that pain.
mm,
Zinc and selenium, antioxidants in nature, anti-inflammatory,
mm,
so will help with boosting immunity as well.
mm.
We are also looking at vitamin B6.
Hmm.
Specifically, B complex, yes, very much required. Out of the B complex, also specifically B6, very, very, very important for the reproductive health, for managing the hormones, the estrogen, progesterone levels, keeping a balance between them.
Hmm.
B6 has a lot of role in fertility and in the hormone cycle management.
Hmm.
So, yes, your B6 levels need to be in place. B6, again, most of the sources are non vegetarian. So,
Hmm.
the question comes in with vegetarian people, where yes, supplement would help a lot
Hmm.
because we don't have the natural sources that are as high in amount of B6 as the non vegetarian sources. So yes,
Hmm.
that works. Even vitamin C. Vitamin C very important, abundantly available in fruits.
Hmm.
So vitamin C is also of importance. If you ask me supplement, maybe supplementing with ashwagandha.
Hmm.
Ashwagandha is also helping with the fertility issues. It's an adaptogen, so it will help to again maintain the balance between the hormones.
Hmm.
So whenever the hormone is high, it will bring it down to a normal level, or whenever the hormone is low, it brings it up to the normal level. So it basically acts for both the cases where your hormones are on the higher level or the lower level. So it's an adaptogen. So again, I would recommend no self supplementing. Please consult, because it's a case to case basis that.
Correct. Hmm. So, Nupur, a lot of people with endometriosis have trouble digesting food, especially raw food. So, when it comes to salads, so how is it that they can, have salads? Could they steam it? Could they,
you
what?
you can stir fry it, you
Hmm.
can steam it, you
Hmm.
can make a soup out of it. Okay, you can't eat it raw, you boil it, cook it, and make a soup out of it.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
fine because we are keeping the fiber intact.
Hmm.
Yes, by steaming and by pressure cooking there is going to be a nutrient loss,
Hmm.
but still we are getting the fiber,
Hmm. Hmm.
and there is something is always better than nothing.
Correct. And magnesium also, I think there are different magnesium salts which help in different things. So for me, I think magnesium glycinate really helped with my muscle cramping and my sleep, because I still have sleep issues, but magnesium I mean, at least it relaxes me.
Mhm.
And also, when it comes to supplementation, I think vitamin B2 is something which works well with people with migraine because a lot of people with endo also have migraines. So, is it right?
Yes, it's right. B2 does help with migraine. So it's
Ex-
the overall B complex that we need to keep in check.
So, so I think the next time you guys are with your doctors, please ask your doctors which supplements would help you because in India, what I've realized is supplements are not something which are given outright, till the time you really don't ask for it, because I think it's not given as much of importance. And trust me, for me, supplements have helped me like insanely more than anything else. The kind supplementation which probably I could add on is what something that helped me with my endometriosis symptoms. So now caffeine is something which again is like a big it's like a big debate. So does caffeine affect endometriosis symptoms, and alcohol also, you may just tell because people may have occasional drink or two. So is there something which really affects endometriosis symptoms?
So when we are talking of caffeine and alcohol, yes, excess quantities of both does affect the liver.
Hmm.
As I mentioned earlier, liver is the one which is the organ which is responsible for maintaining your estrogen cycle, the
Right.
estrogen management.
Hmm.
So again, as I told you, we need to keep the load off the liver so that it can function to its maximum capacity, to the best capacity.
Hmm.
Now, if you are a heavy drinker,
Hmm.
obviously your liver is very much under load. Or if we are taking excess levels of caffeine, there are people who would take coffee or tea as a
Hmm.
stimulant multiple times throughout the day. Some people would like very strong coffee.
Mm.
Again, happening throughout the day. So the overall caffeine levels in your body are increasing. Again, putting a load on the liver.
Mm.
So I would say that everything should be done in portion control, in limits. I
Okay.
understand tea and coffee is required. I would say you keep off it as much as possible. If you
Mm.
do require it, limit your quantity. Make it
Mm.
a light tea or a light coffee. Or even when we're looking at alcohol, we cannot be consuming it on a frequent basis, on a regular basis.
Mm.
Once in a while, in a very small quantity. That is if you have to have it.
Yeah, and I get that.
Only if you have it. That is.
Mm. Yeah,
Otherwise,
obviously, that I understand. If you have to have, then I was asking about that only because a lot of people have been asking this question that if at all I have it once in a while, if I'm going out somewhere, and I feel like, then can I have, is the question.
then
So, and that's
then you keep a tab on the number
how
of
much,
drinks that you're
yeah,
having. How
how
much,
much you're having.
and you always kind of add lemon water before and after the drink
Mm-hmm.
so as to neutralize the effect on the liver. Also, do not pair it up with fried bitings
Okay.
because drinking is always accompanied with some kinds of bitings. So
Correct. Mm.
again, fried is something that we are avoiding.
Mm.
So that is something that at least if we are drinking, then that is one thing that we can do at least, that you do not accompany it with a fried biting. You might as well take some vegetable sticks instead.
Mm. 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 And this is not just limited to endometriosis. I think this is limited to anything which can cause inflammation in the body, right? Um, Now, the next question is something which I personally would be very eager to hear about. As a patient of endometriosis, I have been going through a lot of stress. Okay. Personally, because living with pain day in and day out is difficult. Okay. After excision surgery, obviously things were better, but yes, still there are stresses and people have to manage their own stress. There are things at home which happen, so managing everything gets difficult. So people are stressed, period. So how does stress affect endometriosis, and is can nutrition help with stress management, nutrition and probably lifestyle and nutrition, if I may say so?
That's a fact that there is stress, there is chronic stress. As I mentioned earlier also, everyone is under stress. That's the fact of life. Everyone is under stress and it's
Mm.
chronic stress. So
Mm.
now the thing lies, the stress exists, you can't do anything about it. What you can do is you can manage it efficiently, manage it effectively. You do not let the stress affect you so much that it starts giving symptoms in your physical health. Number one thing to remember is the gut brain axis, if you've heard about that. The
Yeah.
brain is directly connected to your gut, that's a digestive system, via nerves and hormones. So
Mm.
whatever that's going on in your mind, if there's so much of negative emotions, so much of stress, that the message is directly getting conveyed to your body and your body is responding accordingly.
Mm.
So if you are constantly under stress, yes, you will have physical symptoms. So yes, you are going to develop things like endometriosis is just one of the disease that you may develop out of the stress also. But chronic stress can lead to multiple diseases. That is because our brain is affecting directly our gut, and our gut is our second brain.
Right.
So it is leading to all kinds of disease in your body. So number one thing, we need to manage the stress.
Mm.
Right? There are foods that can calm you down. There are breathing exercises which you can do,
Mm.
because deep breathing is someone which will shift your fight and flight response to a more calmer response, which will bring down the hormones in your body. Right? So hormone management, again it comes down to hormone management. So
Mm.
again, deep breathing is something which will help you bring the hormones in balance. Again, physical activity, when we talk of lifestyle, physical activity is having a lot of effect on how the hormones are balanced in our body. We are leading a sedentary life for all of us. Even if you go for a walk in the morning, let's say you go for a 30 minutes walk or a 45 minutes walk, And the rest of the day, if you're sitting at one place in front of your laptop and working, that's again not called as an active lifestyle. So when we talk of active lifestyle, you need to be active throughout the day, right? So it cannot be that, okay, in the morning you've gone for a half an hour, 45 minutes walk and you're done for the entire day. No, that doesn't happen, right? You, even if you have more of a sitting kind of a job or a desk job, you need to get up every hour, take around, give some movement to your body. That's basic. And there are another set of people who do not do any kind of physical activity. Okay, even if we talk of women out there, housewives, if I talk about, they think we are doing ghar ka kaam and we get tired, so our whole day goes on in ghar ka kaam, and that's our exercise. But no, that is not enough. Ghar ka kaam, I understand it is draining your energy, but you still need a physical activity beyond your ghar ka kaam.
Right.
That is also one myth that people have, that constantly I'm working the entire day. But that is not enough for us. So physical activity, very very important for the balance of hormones in your body. Sleep, the free magic drug, and people do not use it. It's freely available to every single one of us, regardless of the socioeconomic status. It's available to each and every person, and it works magic. It does work magic. People just don't make the use of it.
Right.
Sleeping on time is very much essential. I understand that social media is important or recreation is important, but sleep is a part of your healing. So we need to give focus to sleep as well. Right? That is also one thing that I would want to focus. If I talk of stress management, uh, you can focus on laughter therapy. You see in the gardens in the morning, there is this group of old people, who will just laugh out. They are laughing constantly and for no reason. That's what we called as laughter therapy.
Right.
Again, it helps to stimulate your lymphatic system, which is again helping you to lower your inflammation in your body, is giving you a better immune response. Right? So laughter therapy, very simple thing. You can do it yourself at home. Right? Maybe just take 5 to 10 minutes a day, and you need to laugh. You need to just laugh out. The initial 1 or 2 minutes, you may find it difficult. Oh, for what am I laughing? Why am I laughing? But after 2 minutes, when you get into the mode of it, then it's very easy to continue.
Right.
There are, if you're scrolling through your phone, or if you're watching YouTube, you might as well put on some comedy show. That's also going to make you laugh. So basically, laughter is very much required. So laughter therapy is one way, while by how we can cope up with the stress, bringing down the balancing the hormones. Journaling. If there are things that are bothering you, you write it down. Also, journaling works in both ways. You write down things that are bothering you. You also write down things that you felt happy about. At the end of the day, you take a journal, you write down 3 things that made you happy today. It may be very small thing. It may be as small as you went to the vegetable vendor and there was a little baby out there and the baby smiled at you. You felt happy. It may be as small as that, but that's going to constantly remind you that there are good things happening. And that's going to put your stress levels lower. So that is how journaling also works. One thing that I advocate a lot to my patients is visualization, and this has worked a lot for most of them who have practiced it diligently. Visualization is something where when you get into bed at night, you just close your eyes for 2 to 3 minutes and you try to imagine the kind of life you want for yourself. Okay, be it in terms of your personal life, professional life, social life, whatever. And you just see as if you've already reached that stage. You try to see the colors, hear the sounds, feel objects, basically making the image as vivid as possible. That is what is visualization, where you actually feel that, oh wow, I'm already here where I wanted to be. Right? So that also releases the happy hormones in your body, bringing down your stress levels. And this visualization technique is practiced by athletes as well. So apart from they doing their physical practice on their ground, this is the mental practice also, which does lead to increase in their performance levels. And
That's
so
right.
these are some of the ways by which we can cope up with the chronic stress that does exist.
That really was interesting, Nupur. And visualization is actually underrated. I know it really works well. And I think you really have to take that time out to do it before you sleep. But then the problem with sleep, the problem is, Nupur, for people with endometriosis, especially, a lot of us suffer from insomnia, so getting a good sleep gets difficult, so healing, I think, takes a toll on us. So I think the solution is de-stressing ourselves as much as possible. I think that's one of the biggest thing which may help. You know, we have a couple of questions. We'll just finish our session and then take the questions. Okay, so now if you could just help our viewers to create maybe a sort of a diet plan for someone with endometriosis.
Okay. So again, we need to remember that a diet is very, very customized to a
Mm,
specific person,
mm,
because a person may be having other conditions as well, maybe say diabetes, hypertension, thyroid, or any other condition. So when we are looking at healing, we are not just looking at one problem. So we look at the patient as a whole with the other problems that we have. So I cannot give you a standard diet that, oh, this is what everybody is going to
right.
do. When we customize the diet, we customize it according to the schedule of the person, of the patient who's in front of me. Like
Mm,
there may be people who may getting up at 5 o'clock for work. There may be people who may getting up at 9 o'clock. So if I give a standard diet that, okay, 7 o'clock have this, 10 o'clock have this, two
correct.
o'clock have this, it's not a general diet that people are going to follow. There can be general guidelines.
Hmm,
There cannot be a general diet because there are other conditions which we need to manage.
correct.
Managing other conditions is also going to play a role in managing the symptoms of endometriosis.
Hmm,
Like if we are looking at diabetes, managing the insulin is so important, because that is, insulin is again a hormone. Again,
right.
all hormones are connected. So it is not just that we are looking at, okay, the symptoms of endometriosis. We need to look at the root cause. We need to look at the condition as a whole.
Hmm,
So that is one thing that we look at. Otherwise, general guidelines, as I mentioned to you earlier, the amount of food, the number of foods that we are supposed to eliminate from our diet, the number of foods that we are supposed to, the specific food groups that we are supposed to add. So those are the basic guidelines. Then how to do it and how to manage along with the other conditions is what we do when we do a customized diet plan.
all right. So this is something which probably has to be customized for every patient who is coming to you for guidance. So, in lifestyle, when it comes to lifestyle, what lifestyle changes do you think would help people with endometriosis?
Okay. Food was there. Food we already discussed about. We
Mm,
discussed enough about stress as well. Stress management, de-stressing. So again, those are the techniques that I discussed there: journaling, visualization, deep breathing, physical activity, all of
mm,
that for managing stress.
mm,
Managing sleep also, I highlighted upon the importance of sleep and how it helps with healing.
mm,
Apart from this, there are certain things that we don't realize.
mm.
We females use cosmetics. Right?
Yeah,
Most of us use it on a daily basis.
right.
Right? The branded cosmetics contain xenoestrogens. Right?
Mm,
Xenoestrogens are molecules that are very close to estrogen, natural estrogen in our body. They mimic the natural estrogen in our body. And when we are applying cosmetics, they are getting absorbed in our body, leading to an increase in the estrogen, leading to estrogen dominance.
right.
So We may look at big brands and we may think, oh, this is branded, this is good for me, this is good for my skin. May not be. I'm not saying that it is not. It may not be. Right? So we need to always check for any cosmetic or any skincare product that we are using. The paraben free, sulfate free. We read all these terms. We look at the organic cosmetics. They may not be as well branded, or they may not be spending so much on the marketing like the big other brands. So you may not really notice them, but they do exist. So opting for organic cosmetics, again, this is one point which I feel many people overlook.
Right.
But we are using it on a daily basis, and it is also adding up to the estrogen dominance. Right? So looking at organic cosmetics rather than other just normal cosmetics, that is one thing. Second thing, very common, we use plastic bottles, we use plastic containers, we use plastic. There's plastic everywhere around us. Plastic contains BPA, bisphenol A. Again, it is mimicking estrogen. Right? So people who have a habit of constantly drinking from a plastic bottle, the bisphenol A particles are entering your body, and they are mimicking estrogen. So again, that is also leading to your estrogen dominance. Or those who have a habit of storing food in plastic containers in the fridge. Now I understand that. See, if you have to carry a tiffin, you can always opt for steel dabbas.
Right.
Or even if you're storing in the fridge, you can opt for a steel dabba or a glass container. Right? Not necessary to use plastic.
Right.
So again, apart from the other lifestyle changes, also I thought that these 2 points were something that
Very, very
they're
important.
overlooked, but we use it so extensively in our day-to-day life.
Right. Right. No, this really was important because I think we are not very cautious about, first of all, the cosmetics that we are using. Yes, we never check into what is being put into the cosmetics that we use every day. And obviously, plastics, they have seeped into everything in our life. Uh, so I think these are two big changes which we'll have to look into, you know. That was interesting, Noopur. That was like a very, very interesting session. So we had a couple of questions. Deepika was asking, Deepika, would you want to unmute yourself and you want to ask?
Sure, Shilpa.
Yeah.
Thanks, Noopur.
You can come on the video if you want. That's fine if you are okay with it.
Yeah, probably I'll keep the video.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah. Thanks, Noopur, for the insightful session. I wanted to check if you can suggest some good protein sources, especially for vegetarian, okay, since we cannot have soya or paneer, okay. And then we have bloating and digestion issues as well because of the endo. So is there any way, like how do we kind of meet the protein requirement, like morning, evening, and afternoon? Can you suggest some which would be easily available and we can take instead of supplements, depending on supplements?
Okay. Soya is not in our line. We have dals, we have sprouts, we have nuts. Now, if you want to check like dal and sprout is causing you bloating, is that what you meant to ask?
Yeah,
And that is
yeah,
why you're having.
yeah, you're right.
Are you soaking the dal and the sprouts?
Yeah, probably an hour.
You are supposed to soak all your dals for at least 12 hours and the sprouts for at least 18 hours. This is again a common practice that is not known to all females out here, especially the ones who are cooking. They will think, okay, I'm wanting to cook this dal today. I'll just soak it for an hour and I just pressure cook it and it's done. No, all dals have this flatulence causing agents, and we need to soak for at least 12 hours. So you can try this out. From tomorrow, try soaking your dal for 12 hours. And then you tell me, also, do you add hing while preparing the dal?
Hing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Try soaking the dal and you let me know if it works.
Sure, Noopur,
Or
yeah.
you can use the lighter dals like moong, especially. Moong, very easy to digest. So you can
And
try.
do the bina chilka wala moong, right?
Yes, yes, yeah. So you can try with the moong.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. So Sheetal, you want to come on? You want to ask the question yourself?
Yeah, cool. Hey, thanks, Noopur. I think that was quite an informative session. So I had a question. I constantly get hammered by my family because I have a very short sleep cycle. So no matter what time I sleep, I just kind of wake up at like just exactly like 6 hours later without an alarm. So my question was that, of course, there's so much of an emphasis on the importance of sleep. And of course, I've heard that, you need to have at least like 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But no matter how hard I try, it's just impossible for me to sleep anywhere beyond 6 hours. So is that okay? I mean, is it okay for people to naturally have like a shorter sleep cycle, and is that healthy enough?
Yes, when we're looking at sleep cycle, it's more about the quality of sleep rather than the quantity of sleep. So if you're saying that your sleep cycle is 6 hours, and no matter what time of the what time you sleep, you wake up exactly 6 hours after that. When you are waking up, if you are fresh, if you feel fresh, if you feel energetic, there is no lethargy, or you are not like in the zone that, oh, I'm tired, I need to sleep. If you're not fatigued, that means you've
Mhm.
had a good sleep, and that is good enough. So there's no specific number as such that, okay, I have to sleep for 7 hours or I have to sleep for 8 hours. It is more about the quality of sleep. There are people who sleep only for 5 hours, 5.5 hours, and they're absolutely fresh. Their body is effective.
Got that. Thank you so
It's
much.
the
Yeah,
efficiency level of your body, right? So if
I
you're
get that. No,
sleeping
no.
for six
Thankfully, I
hours,
sleep
so
like a
that's
dead log. So, so I think that should be okay. Great. Thank you so much.
It was a big stress out of her mind now. I mean, so by
True
the way,
that.
she's my sister, and I keep pestering her that you need to sleep a little more. So, all right. So, Palvi, you also had a question.
Hi, Noopur, thank you. And Dr. Shilpa, of course,
Palvi.
thank you. A big thank you always. My question was, Noopur, actually to do with calcium supplement or like the intake of calcium, especially if you're on hormonal therapy treatments like progesterone, which I am, Dynogest, for extended periods. And apparently it does affect your bone density. So my question was, so I do have endo coaching on the side, and a lot of things reflected on what you were sharing as well. So I've put most of them in practice. So it's been quite reassuring. One thing that my coach said that she wouldn't recommend me taking supplements, calcium supplements, rather having calcium rich foods instead. So I just wanted to ask you, like, what is your take on supplements? Because I don't think I can take that amount of calcium, because all the gynacs do recommend supplements. But the coach was like, no, you need to go the natural way. But I'm just afraid that I might not take the intake that is needed to keep up.
So for that, yes, again, supplements, you need to check with your blood levels, your calcium levels, and your bone
Okay.
density. And also, I would say, if you want to look at natural foods for calcium sources, sesame
Yeah.
seeds,
Yeah.
very high in calcium. Okay, so even if you are taking like a tablespoon of it every day, it's a very good source of calcium. Nachni, ragi, again,
Right.
very high in calcium.
Mhm.
So ragi, you can maybe substitute your chapati with the
Yeah.
ragi flour. Yes,
Mhm.
that's how also you are adding calcium to your diet. Makhanas,
Yeah.
Mhm.
makhanas again high in calcium. So that can be your in-between snack kind.
Right.
So
Okay.
if your coach is asking you for natural sources of calcium, then yes, you do get it from the natural sources also. But if it is meeting up your requirement or not, needs to be worked out.
Right. So you would recommend a blood test to check calcium and the bone density as well, so that we
Yes.
know how much is required. Okay, that's good. That's a really good point, actually. I think it's a good starting point to, yeah. Thank you. This is very helpful. Thank you.
You had put up something about acne.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's, it's also about the societal norms. Like I live in Saudi Arabia, everybody's really dressed up here. So like we use a lot of makeup and most of the faces are covered, but still a lot of makeup is used. And would you recommend any substitute, like any vegan? There are lots of brands that promote themselves as vegan and all natural supplement, all natural substitute to makeup. So would you recommend, are those even legit? Is that something worth considering is my question.
Or if you can just help us with something which probably if you would know of, which is at least acceptable to use.
Okay. So if you ask me, I think your smile is the best cosmetic that you can use. Number one. So we are pretty by ourselves. We don't need to rely on any external things to make us look prettier. That's one thing that you need to remember. And I generally I believe in it a lot. So I am not a cosmetic user as such. So I don't look up at brands or organic ones also because I don't use them. So if you're asking me for a specific brand or so, I am not the correct person for it. I may not be able to
But
give you.
then I think you've just put in a starting point. Probably we can look into brands which really are good and which don't have, xenoestrogens and things which can create havoc with the system per se.
Yeah.
What you
Yeah.
said, it was absolutely right. Your smile is the best makeup. And but I think we are so used to having some makeup around that, it feels a little incomplete without it.
Yes.
True. Especially with the hormonal imbalances, it already takes a toll on your, I mean, I'm using a filter right now, so don't go by this video. But I'm just saying that it does take a toll on your skin. So you have acne by default, and then you're adding more, fake estrogens into your body, but there has to be a way around it, because you do end up having corporate events, networking events. I'm a professional consultant, so I can't really go with that face. It's just something that I have to live with. So there has to be a way to
So
go
yes,
about it.
organic cosmetics are the ones that we will opt for. So we'll
Okay.
have to learn to start reading the labels
Yeah.
and look up at the ingredients that you're using.
Just being aware of it. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Great. This was like a very, very good session. I mean, I loved everything about the session, and I hope it was informative to all of you who have attended it. I would put this up on YouTube, so probably in case you want to check it later, you can check it. Or if you think that there is someone whom this session would be helpful to, please do let them know. It will be like a big help to a lot of people like me personally. So thank you, Noopur, for this amazing session, and I look forward to getting more knowledge from you, maybe in the coming future. And thanks a lot.
It's been my pleasure to be here. And I
Thanks.
really enjoyed interacting with you.
No, thank you so much, really, to get into the smaller details about things which no one would even think about was maybe the biggest takeaway for me personally. And I think it would be there for a lot of other people. So thank you, everyone who has joined in to the session on a Sunday evening when probably all you could have done is chill around. So thanks a lot. I'm really, really humbled, and see you all again with some other interesting session. Do keep posting on our Instagram or the direct message. Let me know in case there's something else that you would want me to, talk about or get people around to discuss so that it may be helpful for the community. Thank you and have a lovely evening ahead. Bye-bye.
Bye.